Hey, this is Matthew.
And this is Andrea.
And welcome to a special video that we're going to be doing today. We've been kind of avoiding the subject, I think, for the last few months, but everybody else is talking about it, so I feel like we need to also. And that's the end of Toys R Us. Yeah, this is a pretty painful video for us to make. This is the end of an era for so many people and so many different things. Yeah, this is just, it's been a pretty overwhelming few months just watching the
changes and the slow march to death.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we first heard news like everybody did back in roughly September when they were announcing their bankruptcy. There was all sorts of hope that they would get bought out by someone.
Yeah, and then they didn't.
No, they didn't. Like the CEO of the Bratz company was going to pick them up.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
It was like MGA and a few others got together.
Yeah.
And it fell through.
And we actually talked about that in our Toy Fair review video, how like the big topic that all the companies were discussing was if Toys R Us goes down, what happens? And it's going to definitely affect the toy industry in a major way. It's been, that's kind of the key word here of the Star videos. It's been a rough patch.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just been rough. It's been painful. It's been stressful and just depressing. Yeah.
Like, we actually went into, we've been checking out the Toys R Us as they've been doing their down selling, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have been going to. And when they first started the sales, even at like 10-20%, the stores were packed for no reason, really, because there were no good sales yet. But people were just thinking, oh God, they're going to go any day now. And here we are now, and it's been, 4 months later, and now we have like the up to 90% sale. Where the stores are basically, we went there to our main one, at least my main one.
No, that one was my main one too.
And we took video, and you guys can see it here. Like, the aisles, majority of them are just completely closed off. Any inventory they have is just moved to the very front of the store, and it was a madhouse today. It's like, where were these people beforehand?
I don't know. I've been to, last few days in particular, I've been to 4 different ones last few days. And each one was a little bit different in how they were set up. And actually, the one that we went to today, I had been to just a few days ago. And the change from a few days ago to today was just, oh God, it was heartbreaking to see. Because a few days ago, the store was still laid out somewhat. I mean, there were areas that were kind of closed off and they'd squished a lot of stuff together. But it made sense because the stock just wasn't there. But it was still a store. You could still kind of walk through various areas. Today, yeah, everything's brought to the front and it's practically barren. We walked through the store and as much as we could, and the back is just empty. And it's just been very painful to witness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems the one trend we've also noticed as everything's been going down is like whatever certain Toys R Us will get like a ton of one certain item.
Yeah.
We've seen, some people have gotten really lucky, others have gotten unlucky. I know you saw in Virginia when you were down there, Toys R Us had a wall of just WWE's Virgils, which was an exclusive for Toys R Us. At ours, we've seen just nothing but like the WWE Diva dolls, or the superstar female wrestling figure dolls.
Unfortunately, the female line, I've seen that in every store.
We've got a pretty high amount of those, but ours, I feel like in particular, has just like tons of Becky's.
Believe it or not, Becky, unfortunately, is one of the... This is just heartbreaking because I also love Becky. Becky and Ava Marie.
They're kind of the peg warmers.
They were the peg warmers. I mean, the one that we went to today, they actually had Natalya and Sasha. I mean, there were only like a few of them, but other ones I've been to, they've had nothing but Becky's and Ava Marie's.
Tons of Skylanders.
Skylanders, again, everywhere. It's Skylanders left and right. Little green men left and right. The one I went to in Virginia, it was Virgil's walls of John Cena. Like, John Cena's as far as the eye can see.
But you can't see him, so...
Yeah, I know, so that was a little bit awkward.
Yeah. No wonder they're not selling.
Yeah, right. And also, the Mattel 1985 business suit Barbie. For some reason, they had, several, rows, they had like a wall or two of those, which I found absolutely crazy. But yeah, in terms of the other stores, like those stores in New York, it's been the Divas, Little Green Men, Skylanders.
Yeah.
And a few other different kinds of things.
And we've seen Skylanders in like Five Below and other places for cheaper to begin with than Toys R Us had.
Yeah.
That's kind of another thing we want to mention, I think, too, is just the disappointing way they handled their bankruptcy and their sales. Like, when they first began the sales, they were actually having some kind of like pre-holiday sales to begin with in the store, Then they announced the bankruptcy, and suddenly their prices went up on toys.
Mm-hmm.
There was still a sale, but toys clearly went up.
Yeah, I mean,
and they stayed up.
One of the places that we saw, one of the biggest offenders, and this really bothered both of us, Funko Pops. Look, both of us have kind of our own different relationships with them, but we can't deny the fact that they are exceptionally popular. And the price point for them was it was $7.99 or $9.99. I can't remember.
Usually they're like $9.99.
Yeah, I think it was $9.99. And what we were seeing is stores slap a label on them to say that they were now $12.99, but they still had the 20% discount, or something like that. And it's like, dude, what is this?
And people were buying them.
Yeah, people were buying.
Because everybody was panicking in the beginning.
Yeah. This was happening even towards the middle.
Yeah, no, I know. People who who don't go there, they were basically cashing in on the folks who didn't come. Yeah. And that's kind of the problem too. Is like because they announced a bankruptcy in September. A lot of their Black Friday sales struggled too, because who wants to go to a store where you can't return something? Because everybody's panicking immediately, thinking they're not going to be able to return anything. And again, it took them months to finally close up shop, but just widespread hysteria for no reason. And
it was Toys R Us. It's been around for what was it, 70 or 75 years?
This is the 70th anniversary of Toys R Us this year. It would have been the 70th. So
it's
1948.
The thing is, so many of us grew up with it, just always expecting it to be there. So to hear that it was going bankrupt, the way that we were hearing it, the news, that was just like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because we don't have any other toy stores like that. There's no big brick and mortar stores like that. We used to have KB, but that went under. And while they're talking about coming back, they're talking about coming back in a much more limited way, as almost like pop-up stores and seasonally, which would be great, but that doesn't help for the people who, as we're going through, it doesn't help for collectors, it doesn't help when you're looking for birthday presents. It's so much harder now to find stuff once we lose Toys R Us.
It's a very different toy buying experience, because you still have your Targets, your Walmarts.
Yeah, but they're terrible.
Yeah, they're very limited. I mean, our Walmarts are really terrible up here.
God.
Targets are they're usually pretty and we're not going to go into all the details of why we think the company flopped or whatever, ultimately. But you still have Amazon, but it's not the same experience. Amazon might get you things cheaper, but it's very different from, seeing it in person and making sure you get one that actually looks good.
Yeah, quality control is a huge issue.
Yeah, and just being able to find a rare toy, because now you're really at the mercy of the online market, where especially Amazon is really bad with that, because I remember a Randy Orton figure that I actually ended up picking up at a Walmart once. It was really hard to find at the beginning. It was like their WrestleMania line. It became really hard. It was a very rare figure, so I remember seeing it on Amazon for like $160. And then suddenly Walmart got new shipments in the entire series, and the price immediately went down to $20. But who would have known that would have happened? So you're really at the mercy. I mean, you guys can check out Marvel Legends all the time. They either sell out, or they then become part of the second-party market or third-party market, and now they've tripled in price.
I mean, aside from the money issue, all I'm thinking is quality control. That's really the biggest thing for me, because you've seen with all the different videos that we've done, it's always an issue because they're mass producing. So depending on the company, some are better than others, but it's just, we have to be the ones to do quality control, essentially. We want to be able to find the ones that are a little less schmutzy, or don't have weird paint stains or dents in their faces and stuff like that. And you can't do that online shopping. They're not gonna be doing it for us. Let's be honest. They're not going to be.
No. And you might even say that, if it's a problem, you can just send it back to the company.
No, that's not true.
Not necessarily true, especially if it's a rare figure. Guess what? They can't give it back to you. They'll give you a refund, and you'll lose that figure entirely. That's happened.
I actually saw in an action figure group that I'm in. I actually saw somebody talk about how he had gotten a figure, and the leg, online, and the leg was busted. He returned it to a seller. The seller agreed to pay it back, to replace it. But the second time he got it, it was missing stuff. But this time the seller refused to, replace it. And I believe this was an online thing, and it's just great. So now that's what we're at the mercy of.
It's going to be even worse now. And,
it's going to be 1,000 times worse.
The big thing, too, is, you can't just go and find a toy in the wild now.
Yeah,
that's kind of big, and that's a big part of being a kid, especially is seeing that toy. I want that.
It's part of the fun.
Yeah, and you won't really see it in toys. I mean, in Target or Walmart, because it's not how their stores are set up. They're big brick and mortar. They're there to sell you
everything,
and not just specialize in toys. So you've got basically a few aisles of stuff. And that's it.
Yeah, and it's just it's heartbreaking. It's stressful. It's frustrating. Like this, it never should have gotten to this point.
No, we're not going to go into too much about
what
went wrong.
I mean, everyone's got their own views as to what went wrong, but I think the gist of it is, there are a lot of factors, but I would say debt, gross mismanagement of everything, and even now, and not being willing to change with the market.
Yeah, not keeping up with the times, not adapting, just keeping a very rigid style of how you do business.
Yeah, and also not making the experience, in store as good as it could be. I would say that's part, because don't get me wrong, so the people at Toys R Us are some of the hardest workers. Some of them are wonderful, but then you also have some of them that are horrible, and they weren't as knowledgeable about product, and it's hard to ask them questions, but hey, what about this? And like I said, where we are, we have access easily to several different Toys R Us's. We do. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit of a drive, but it's nothing crazy, and it's always the same. It's always, there are not enough people who know enough about the product, and I think that's also a really big issue. Yeah,
so let's talk about some of the good memories of Toys R Us, though, because we both, for us, it's been over 30 years of going to the Toys R Us's, especially you pretty much have a Toys R Us that is your Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And so our Toys R Us, I've been going there since I was a little kid, so I remember even going there, seeing it when it was different, when it was laid out different. I remember back in the 80s and early 90s, when especially 80s, like end of 80s, I remember going in, like, looking at walls of G.I. Joes, of Masters of the Universe, of Ghostbusters. I remember Ninja Turtles, Toxic Crusaders. I remember even buying those, like, in other states, but the Toys R Us always looked the same. They always were just wall to wall, tons of stuff. Never a bare aisle.
My memories are a little bit different because, yes, I went occasionally. Oddly enough, I remember Babies R Us better. Huh. More because of just where my folks would take us to go shopping. That's what was there. The Toys R Us would also be nearby, but it wasn't as close as the Babies R Us. So sometimes we were running in for just, like, running to the bathroom or just going to sit somewhere. So my memories are a little bit weirder, but when I got to high school is where I start having memories of, our Toys R Us. Like, we didn't grow up together, so, but we're in similar area, and so, our Toys R Us, it was individually our Toys R Us, it's pure coincidence in that case.
We've seen it change and how it's changed over the years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I used to hang out there with friends. We would go in and, shenanigans.
I used to go there too. I used to walk there. It was a 45-minute walk from my house to down this giant hill to get there. Another 45 minutes back home.
I feel like I took the bus.
Yeah, we were cheap. We spent our money on toys, not on buses.
I had a bus pass.
We didn't.
That's right.
We did, but ours weren't as good as yours.
Yeah, mine were bad. Mine were badass.
Yeah, you got the free one.
I know, I got that. I didn't. Anyway, but no, I just remember being able to hang out there with my friends. I remember some shenanigans, and just wandering the aisles. I mean, for me, I started collecting X-Men figures because of my Toys R Us, and I had a really healthy collection of 90s X-Men figures, and I'm proud of it still today. It started me on my path, and then
that's where I went to buy all my stuff too.
Yeah, it got me into comics. Like, my first comic books, that I know of that were specifically mine, where I consciously made the choice to read them. They weren't just like, oh, my dad's lying around, or oh, here's a free one. The first comic books that I consciously chose to get were at Toys R Us because they sold these 4-packs, these story 4-packs. I was like, oh, this seems kind of cool. So I got them, and next thing you know, I'm obsessively collecting comic books, and it's a whole big thing, and I have no money anymore. And spending my days in comic book stores, and quite frankly, back then, being female and a comic book collector was a very weird thing for a lot of people. So it was really good, really awkward. But yeah, and then, time goes by, and you go in occasionally. It wasn't until, the last 5-10 years, though, that it really became my Toys R Us again.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was growing out of it, and then it turns out, no, I was just hiding it.
Yeah, I remember going there with, like, various relatives, like my grandfather or my uncle, and we'd go there, and they'd buy me something. I'd be like, oh, I want that Ghostbusters Ecto-1, or I want the
That's cool.
X-Men thing or something, and, they'd bribe me with toys.
Nice, I wish my
going there with relatives, going there with my parents, and, like, you are as a kid, like, I want everything, but you can only get one thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember getting, like, my old WWF Hasbro figures, Exo Squad. I remember that the first time I ever, like, actually cried in Toys R Us, was when the Power Rangers came out, and the toys were there, and the aisle was packed with adults who wouldn't even let any of the kids in. They were just scooping up everything. I got nothing that day, so I couldn't get anything. Like the thing, I didn't want the figures. I thought the figures were terrible. Even as a kid, I was very picky. I thought the figures sucked, and I still do. But I wanted like the Zords and the like weapon stuff.
Wait, are you talking about the flippy ones?
Yeah, they had the flippy ones. I eventually got one later on.
The flippy ones were hilarious.
I hated them all. I just didn't like it.
Yeah, I know. The bodies are like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
But the faces I liked.
Yeah, I remember like going there again, like walking there especially. That was my big thing. So I'd like walk there and come home. Like I'd walk 45 minutes with my arms full of toys. Usually discount toys. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
So I'd have like my GI Joes, 12-inch GI Joes, and Ultimate Soldiers. Again, Exo Squad was my big thing there. I was always buying wrestling figures, whether it was WCW or ECW or WWF or eventually WWE, whatever. Ghostbusters, anything Ghostbusters, just, It's a place I went to hang out with, like, everybody, even if I had friends who weren't into toys, it's still a place we went to, because it was just the place. And I think that's also going to be what's missing, is, like, for a kid that's, even if you're a teenager, you still just go there for the most part.
Yeah,
most kids will still go there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like a safe place to hang out.
Yeah, because you can just kind of wander and talk movies or look at the electronics.
Make fun of things that you think are stupid and silly. But...
Absolutely, yeah. I mean... Secretly, you don't, and you're just making fun of them, so you can seem like you're more of a teenager than, a kid at heart. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, God, how often have I mocked the Barbies and the dolls, and then I suddenly found myself going, no, I might as well just embrace the fact that part of me really likes them.
Yeah.
I mean, I like all toys. It's just, yeah. It's just, man.
And also for me, Toys R Us was actually my first jobs out of college. So I spent, at the end, it was actually our Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And I spent, a good few, let's see, I probably actually interviewed there on my birthday.
Oh, snap.
That's how I spent my birthday, was interviewing for this job. And I was able to actually negotiate $1 more than everybody else got. Despite having no work experience, I negotiated $1 more than everybody else got.
Okay, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And I was there till I survived the holiday rush. They were going to, I was there till probably, I think, February or March maybe. And they were going to put me on the track to actually become a manager there, but I ended up getting a job that was actually in my career, and then things went from there. But, like, they were willing to actually make me go further. And I remember just seeing, too, like, how everything worked in the Toys R Us, and, like, thinking, this works, this doesn't work. Even back then, like, seeing how managers were and what they were buying, what they weren't buying, and knowing, speaking to the collectors that would come in the store, and being a collector, knowing what they wanted and what wasn't there. And that's usually what they wanted.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, it's,
There are so many things that went wrong. There's so many issues with it, but it doesn't change the fact that we had these great memories of it. And that's the part that's just kind of the crappiest. I mean...
We're going to sound like old people when we say this, like you whippersnappers, but kids of the next generation, they're not going to know what it's like to walk into a store filled with toys.
Yeah, I mean, like, no joke. I got into the Lego Brickheads because of Toys R Us. Because I saw them up close. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to be able to say, hey, I sat down on the floor to go looking for a few of them because of the way that they were set up, and I was looking for a specific one, and I had to wade through, stuff.
And when you found it, you got those sweet, sweet endorphins that you're not going to get from buying
online. Exactly. And it was like, it's the thrill of a hunt.
It's the experience that you're going to lose, and, like, kids aren't going to, and it's such a weird consumer thing to say, but it's true. Kids don't know the experience of digging, of hunting, of seeing these things.
Yeah, of just being able to point to a shelf and be like, oh, wow, I haven't seen that. Or there's something about walking into a store and just gazing in wonder. You're like, oh my gosh, all these possibilities. It's like the Willy Wonka effect, And Toys R Us was like that. I mean, Target's not like that.
No, it's a real shift in the industry
now.
Because you have Target and Walmart, comic stores maybe, but we'll talk about that later, I think. But yeah, like, how are things going to get sold? It's going to be such a major shift in the industry for toys. It's going to hurt a lot.
It's going to hurt everyone. Everyone in the industry, it's going to hurt in some way, I think, because they're just not going to be able to put out the kind of products that they want to put out as much.
And I'm worried in 10, 20 years, the action figure market will be dead because everything's shifting towards digital trends.
No, and that's... No, I don't think we'll ever really lose a lot of this stuff, but... No, I don't, because if you look at history, as everything changes, there's always been a market, even if it's a small market. There's always been a market for a lot of those things. It just repackaged or, modernized in some way. It's not all going to be digital, but we're going to lose a lot.
It's going to become very expensive. It already is kind of leaning towards an adult market anyway.
Yeah.
But with the price, just in general, the price of plastic has gone up dramatically in the last 10 years. It's not going to get any better anytime soon. No. So it's going to be tough for the industry as a whole to survive without Toys R Us, because Toys R Us was the catalyst that pushed things forward. Even if you ended up buying a thing at Target or Amazon, you probably went to Toys R Us first to look at it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, I saw so many different things, and oh my god, yeah. There were always so many things where it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Can I get it cheaper?
Yeah.
And then price shopping, and if to be honest, if it was only a small difference, I would just say screw it and I'd get it at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's Toys R Us and it's right there. But now it's just...
So let's talk about our final hauls in the last few weeks, because we've been basically monitoring the sales. So it was kind of a balancing act.
Yeah.
I think our best time for the best, like, good, expensive items were when they hit about the 40% market. Because that's when I got my NECA Vasquez and my Ash vs. Evil Dead Ash figure at 40% off, which I thought was pretty great. And pretty much after that, once they started hitting 30, a lot of that stuff left the store entirely. It was just shipped out.
Yeah.
Like WWE toys especially, those were gone.
Those
By the time they
so
hit 40 as well, magically everything WWE was gone except for the dolls.
Yeah, well, with the
Except for one day,
yeah,
you found a random box of stuff the other day, in fact. That was amazing. But
yeah, I know, I was really proud of that.
You know, I've gone back a few other times to the various ones around. I've seen things I wanted to get, but I was still, it's like, they're too much. They're not really worth doing still. Yeah, how about you? What have you been finding? What were you finding?
There was a whole bunch of stuff. I started purchasing stuff, to be honest. Lego stuff I kind of started in a little bit earlier. Like when there was some stuff I got at like 5 and 10%. I got...
So Lego was never really dramatically discounted ever.
No, that's not true. It got down to 30%.
But
by then it was almost done. For Lego it is.
Yeah, exactly. For Lego wasn't really discounting their stuff that much. Like, they were getting their stuff. They're pulling it out as quick as they could.
They really were. For Lego, I got several different brickheads, which were great. A few I'm regretting not getting, but whatever. I'll eventually get them. But the one find you know what, I'm still actually really glad I got, even though I could have gotten it. I think I got it at 5% and I could have gotten it eventually at 10%, but I had no way of knowing. And that was the NASA Women Scientists set. To this day, that is one of the best purchases I was able to get because I hadn't seen it until around the time that they announced the bankruptcy and they started discounting stuff. But other things that I was slowly kind of getting into, probably around the 40. Was it around 40?
Yeah, it was 40 when you got.
When we got New Day. Was New Day?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Madame Alexander.
No, that was. We'll go to that one in a second. I finally got the Toys R Us New Day 3-pack Funko Pops because that's when I started watching wrestling again, and those were the uniforms that I was watching, they were in, and so the costumes. I can't help but New Day rocks. So I was holding off, and I kept thinking it was going to go, and when I found them, there weren't that many there. Lo and behold, okay, just real quickly, I gotta point this out, lo and behold, we get down to 60 and 70 and 80%. No, New Day is everywhere.
Tons of them.
It's like...
For like $8 now for the set, right?
Yeah, it was $8 now.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I got it at least about half off, I think. No, at least 5 off. 5, yeah, around there. Because I think it was 20 and I got it for 15. Somewhere, something like that. But, man, I got a really good one. I'm glad because Funko has quality control issues.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with what I have. I don't entirely regret it, but I'm a little annoyed at the fact that when I went in, it was only 3 or 4, and then all of a sudden they were everywhere. It's like they were just literally pulling stuff out.
They were probably finding stuff in the basements because I know you found, for me, the WrestleMania line. Which I didn't even. I thought that was a Walmart exclusive, which we talked about the Randy Orton before. It was from that WrestleMania line. Lo and behold, you go there and they have the entire series, and it's now what was it? It was 60, 70% off because $20 figure, suddenly $8.
Yeah, it was great, $9.
Yeah.
But the one big haul that I do want to talk about real quick, because I did not expect to do this. It's not something I normally do.
It just kind of worked out in your favor.
It was one of those like, what am I doing? Madame Alexander came out with a Marvel girls line. Madame Alexander is the doll company. They do all sorts of really cool, interesting dolls. They came out with high fashion dolls based off of Marvel characters. Like they were wearing, there was Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Gwen, Black Widow, and Black Panther. So they're all they're all female dolls that are in these gorgeous high fashion outfits inspired by these characters. And I'm like, what? this is unique. We didn't hear about it at Toy Fair. We didn't hear about it anywhere. And all of a sudden it was just in stores, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I think I need this, but this is really expensive. So the Black Panther one was the most exclusive, ultimately. That's the one that sold out the fastest.
Most expensive and hardest to get.
Yeah, it was the most expensive and the hardest to get. So when it got to about 50%, I did get it. And then I really liked the Black Widow one. So when it got down to about 60%, I was like,
Basically, you got the whole line over increments as the prices got discounted.
Yeah, eventually, in this last run, I honestly was going to stop at Black Widow, but at this last run, the discount was too good.
From $50 to $15.
Yeah, it was too good, and so I now have the entire line. I don't regret it. I just don't know where I'm going to put them all. But that might be probably one of the best toy experiences I've ever had, just because the price point was just so intense.
I mean, for me, I think my haul is towards the end, where, again, I mentioned my 40% off sale, which is really good. Mm-hmm. I was able to get a lot of Little Green Men for about 60% off, which are fun, and for me, that's the price that they should be at.
Yeah.
And yeah, today was our last day. Basically, today was our last trip ever. We'll talk about that, I think, in a minute. But I was able to finally get a board game I wanted for $3. Now, mind you, this is where, again, Toys R Us, you messed up, because we'd been going to Five Below. Mm-hmm. This board game was there for $5 and has been there for $5. Yeah. Toys R Us had it originally for $10, and then they went out of business, and the sale went, and suddenly the game was $20 again.
Yeah, it just.
But Five Below had it for $5. So we had to wait for it to slowly go down to what was at Five Below, and then finally today, 90 or 80% off, whatever it is, it's now $3. So I finally bought it.
Yeah.
And I also got. There's some things I didn't buy out on just because even the discount wasn't really worth it.
No, there were a lot of things like that.
But we did have, there was a lot of talk about finding things under. Underneath the bins there, or whatever. Like you had to pull them up from the floor.
People were finding all sorts of weird, random things out of nowhere.
Yeah, and we were hearing about it. We were like, we gotta look. So today, finally, now that most of the shelves were bare, we could actually easily pull them up without having to knock everything over. So we went through a bunch, and the boys section was where we'd be hearing everything was. Those were cleaned out, and there was more security there, watching us. So we were like,
they know. Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, over in the girls section, popped open a bin. Lo and behold, we find 3 Mini-Mates from
3 Mini-Mate sets
from Wolverine Origins from 2009.
Yep, it was 2009.
Sticky, totally disgusting, and would not ring up.
Yeah.
So they just let it. We asked somebody in the front. They just let us have it. So that's a pretty great find. At least we got a thing. We found a thing.
Yeah, we found one heck of a thing.
Nice find. So, but yeah, let's talk. Today was the final day we're probably gonna go because we're both working jobs. We can't really go, and our Toys R Us, it looks like, is closing on Wednesday, and today is Sunday night as we film this. So
if there's a chance, I might try to hit one more, but I don't think I can do it.
Yeah, it was pretty depressing, and it's just like I think the most depressing part for me was seeing all the kids that were there.
Yeah.
Who were still, even though everything's going out of business, still so happy with what was there.
Oh my god, they were thrilled. They were like, oh my god, I want this, I want this.
Yeah, it's like, and it probably wasn't even things that they think they'd want. It was just there, and they were just happy to see it.
That's that's something that I don't think we actually really talked about that, just real quickly. Going into a toy store, you can see stuff you never thought you would want.
Which is how they get you. But yeah, that's a part of it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, one of the easiest examples for me is that, that 1985 Barbie that I was talking about. I didn't know that was out. I'm not gonna lie, I had it at one point in time, not dating myself too much, but I had that. So when I saw it in stores, I was like, oh my gosh, and part of me really wanted to go get it. Ultimately, I chose not to. I think I still stand by. I think I still stand by that decision. I don't think I have too much.
It's pretty horrendous Barbie, though.
It is, but she was a powerful, important Barbie to the point where she's
shoulder pads. Yes,
she's featured in the the Toys That Made Us opening credits. Okay, so she made an impression.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna not have that argument here. But the point is, I went in and saw it and went, oh my god.
Memories.
It brought up memories. It brought up all sorts of feelings. It made me want to get it. I also saw things like these Madame Alexander dolls. Yeah. I never knew that we didn't get press releases. We didn't hear about it. We didn't see them in any place that we normally go to. It just showed up. Now I have the entire line.
I think that's kind of the important thing is the fact like it's a tactile experience that brings you the nostalgia. Yeah. You're not going to get that playing a video game.
You're not going to
get the nostalgia from holding the controller. But, it's the physicality that makes the memories.
But it's also, you're not going to get that ordering it online.
Not the same experience. You're going to lose that joy of like going. I know there's some collectors who are like, oh, it's easier online. A lot of people I know have given up on going to stores. They just want to do it online. But you're probably just a scalper. I hate to say it. You're not. It's a very different experience.
Okay, I want one collector to tell me like the truth. Like any of you guys who are collectors, tell me you haven't had a moment when you've been in a store looking for something in particular, and then you found something completely different, and it was awesome. Tell me you haven't had that experience, and I'm going to call BS on you because I don't know anyone who's ever gone into a store, like into a toy store, and who's gone collecting, who hasn't had that magical find where it was just completely unexpected, but awesome, and just what you didn't know you wanted, but you had to have. Okay? We're going to lose that because you can't have that online. Because you're looking for this one particular item and they might pop up as a possible suggestion. But how are you going to know? You know, like we have no way. That's them and their algorithms telling us what they think we want. As opposed to us going somewhere and finding stuff that we know we want. And we're losing that and it just sucks.
Yeah. It's tough times ahead for this. And to be honest, it's actually going to affect our website a little bit too. Because I've decided, mostly because we're not going to have this as much. I want to change how we cover things, so we're going to be doing more field trips. We're going to go into more local comic stores, local toy stores. We want to highlight these small businesses and introduce them to you, so you know you have options besides Target, Walmart, and online. Even if you have to spend a little bit more, I mean, small business matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we want to, it's we're not angels. It's not like we're saying don't buy from Amazon. I buy all the time from Amazon. I just bought from Amazon. Stuff that you're going to see here eventually reviewed on the website. But
I buy from them all the time. Same with Target. I try to avoid Walmart.
But, the point is, even if it's a little bit more money, sometimes it's better to actually see it in person and have that experience. Yeah. That's what it is. You want to make experiences with your children or with yourself. You have to take them places with your friends. You have to go out and physically do things. And I think that's the biggest thing is, like, don't lose that. Because that's the familial part of collecting. That's the community part of collecting is interacting. And even if it's interacting by yourself, touching the toys, looking through them, it counts. It's part of the experience, part of the journey. And when you finally find that one you're looking for, it's just like the holy grail suddenly. Everything changes that day for you.
It's the best thing. And, look, we both belong to different types of action figure communities and toy collecting communities. And they're great. You can meet amazing people online. Please don't think that we're saying that online stinks. We're not. But there's a balancing act that needs to be done here. Because I'm sorry, you're not going to have the same experience if you do it all online. If you're going to trade with someone online, that's cool. But at the same time, when you're searching for stuff, even when you're talking to people, it's different. It's a different experience. And we're going to be losing that. And support small businesses. I think that might be one of the biggest things now because that's the best route that I think we have for collectors like us. Because Target and Walmart, they're not going to get as much stuff. So the small businesses are where we got to look to.
So in terms of Toys R Us, though, just for anybody out there who are probably saying this in the comments, we are aware, and just so you're aware, Toys R Us is shutting down North America, more or less, but in Canada, part of North America, there's still going to be about, I think, 70 or 80 in Canada. And Asia still has some, but I haven't heard much good things about them.
Yeah, I haven't heard really good things either.
And we are going to get a KB Toys again seasonally. Yeah. We'll see how that goes, but, you gotta do your best to support it. Chances are they're not gonna have amazing prices, so you're gonna have to go there if you really want to see toy stores come back. You have to spend money.
Yeah, we're gonna have to show that there is a market and there is a need and a desire and a want and all that other stuff for a store, a brick and mortar store.
Yeah. So I think that pretty much covers our thoughts on Toys R Us.
I think so. I think the only thing that we can really say is thanks Toys R Us.
Giving us a lot of good memories over decades.
Yeah, and. We'll miss you a lot, so thanks for the memories.
It's time to grow up.
Oh, I don't want to grow up.
No, we're never going to grow up. We're Toys R Us kids. We're going to stay that way.
Damn right.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Andrea.
And please go to your Toys R Us before they close. Just go there one last time just because.
Yeah.
Just
take a picture. Goodbye. Say goodbye. Hug a Jeffrey if you see him.
Yeah. All right. So be strong, and we'll be back again with more videos soon.
Absolutely. Take care.